Good afternoon to all the participants on this call. Before we proceed to the call, let me remind you that the discussion may contain forward-looking statements that may involve known or unknown risks, uncertainties, and other factors. It must be viewed in conjunction with our business risks that could cause future result, performance, or achievement to differ significantly from what is expressed or implied by such forward-looking statements. Please note that we have mailed the results and the presentation, and the same are available on the company's website. In case if you have not received the same, you can write to us and we'll be happy to send the same over to you. To take us through the results and answer your questions today, we have the management of Butterfly Gandhimathi Appliances Limited, represented by Mr. BMG Mayuresan, VP, Finance and Strategy, Mr. Narasimhan Rose, and Mr. R. Nagarajan from the finance team, along with Mr. Anand Mundra, management consultant to the company. We'll start the call with a brief overview of the quarter gone past and then conduct Q&A session. With that said, I'll now hand over the call to Mr. Mayuresan. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Binay. Good morning, everyone. Hope all of you are fine and are in good health. Some highlights of the year gone by are: the company has reported revenue of Rs 870 crores, translating into 28% growth as compared to last year. This is the highest ever growth reported by the company over the last few years. We have grown across all the channels except gas dealer channel. The company has reported EBITDA margins of 9.3% during the year. The working capital days are now around 36 days, which is the lowest in the history of the company. All this has resulted in improving the ROE profile of the company. It is around 18% on average net worth, and we are hopeful we will cross 20% in a year or so.
Mayur, Can you be louder? I think you are...
Okay. Is it better now?
Yeah, better.
Yeah. The working capital days are now around 36 days, which is the lowest in the history of the company. All this has resulted in improving the ROE profile of the company. It is around 18% on average net worth, and we are hopeful we will cross 20% in a year or so. We are happy to inform that we are a net cash company as on March 31, 2021. The medium-term outlook for the kitchen appliances sector continues to be very optimistic. However, in the short term, the outlook of the company is uncertain due to the upswing in COVID cases, which had led to lockdown across the states. The manufacturing facility of the company is also closed during this month from May 10th to 24th due to lockdown. However, we are hopeful that we will be able to regain the lost sales during the first quarter in the coming quarters. The rising raw material prices are also putting pressure on the margins of the company. However, we were able to pass on the price rise and absorb some cost through manufacturing, process re-engineering, and product innovation. Now we can proceed for Q&A session.
Thank you. Anyone with a question, please type your name and respective company's name on the chat board, and then we can take it forward. First question is from Akash. Please mention your full name and your company's name. Please go ahead.
Yeah, my full name is Akash Jain and my company name is Money Curves Analytics. I have a couple of questions to Mayuresan, but I think before that, I want to just convey my condolences for the demise of your company secretary. I think it's quite a sad news for everyone, and I think it's very tough time for everyone. I also want to at the same time congratulate, because I think more than the growth in margins and revenues, I think the balance sheet improvement has been very, very positive. And I think this is something that we had discussed earlier as well, that the change in working capital profile and debt profile of the company has been the biggest positive for the last 1 year, at least to investors like me. So Mayuresan, I have two very simple questions. One is basically on the current environment, and given that we have a very high concentration of sales in Tamil Nadu, given what is happening on lockdown now here, what is the current demand scenario like? And are you seeing, if even in other markets for us like Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Karnataka, Kerala, things have come to a standstill. So where do you see demand? Maybe do you see June, July things improving? And just like last year, where once the market opened, we saw a huge growth in numbers. Do you see similar kind of pent-up demand getting fulfilled, or you see some improvement, but it can't be a growth like last year? So that is the first part. I think the second part, which I think probably everyone will want to hear about, is the commodity pressure now because of the way steel and stainless steel and aluminum and copper has been going up, which are the key raw materials for us. I think last time you mentioned that we'll have to take some price rise given the current environment on demand. What has been the company's strategy on price rise, and what kind of gross margin pressures are you seeing currently? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Akash. Currently, as we speak, in the traditional retail market, about 90% of our retail outlets are not running because of lockdowns across the states. The lockdown is across all the 5 southern states and most of the states in India currently. But we hope that it might. We are seeing a current complete lockdown currently, but we hope that over the coming quarters, over the coming months, it will get better. Fortunately, it's happening in Q1. Q1 is not a big seasonal business for us. Generally, it starts by the mid of Q2 and it continues to Q3. So we hope that during that time, things should be better. With the current lockdowns and everything, we feel that things will get better in the coming months. And if you see on the raw material prices, yes, it is very, very unstable for the last 4 to 5 months now. The prices started increasing from the month of December and early Jan, and it's still volatile. And the availability of raw material is also a challenge. But we are doing whatever we can to the best to hold up good inventories in the risk category raw materials. And we have done 2 price hikes twice. We are currently looking at the situation for this quarter also. And on the other side, we have been doing a lot of re-engineering to make sure that our gross margins are not very badly impacted. By saying this, there will be some impact in Q1. But from Q2 onwards, we hope that the impact is much minimized and we get back to the previous levels.
I just have one follow-up question, Mayuresh, if I may ask. So if you look at some of your peers, right, the recently listed company, right, we saw a huge margin improvement, and I think a lot of that improvement has also come from managing costs, especially on the sales and distribution as well as on advertising cost. So given the current uncertainty on demand and the current lockdown that you are seeing in 90% of your stores, is there also a thought process on looking at cost management, or is it too early to look at cost management at this point in time?
See, we are currently working on that. Seeing the current lockdown situation, if it increases, if it continues to Q2, we'll have to get into that again. We'll be prepared if there's a lockdown. We'll be better prepared to reduce the cost also. But currently, it is little early because the lockdown, especially in Tamil Nadu, have only started very recently. We feel that the markets will get back to normalcy from Q2.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mayuresh.
Thank you, Akash.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Devans Nigotia from SIMPL. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Sir, thanks for the opportunity and congratulations on a very good working capital improvement and balance sheet at the same time. So just wanted to understand, since e-commerce has been a growth driver for us, a significant growth driver for the scale that the company has changed. So if you can just throw some light on some soft points on what is it that we are doing on the e-commerce, which is difficult to replicate from some other players. So normally that we see that if one prices products at a lower end, you appear on the top, or you have a better arrangement with the e-commerce, it helps you to show on the featured option or probably on the first page. So some soft points over there will really help.
Okay. currently, with most of the retail points being closed due to lockdowns, one area which is growing is the e-commerce, because even in last year, what we saw immediately after lockdown was the e-commerce started immediately, and it was able to grow phenomenally compared to the traditional retail. One good thing which we saw in the last quarter and from December last year was there was a very good increase in sales, even in the traditional retail. Unfortunately, it's been shut down because of lockdowns across the states. And we definitely feel over the months, the traditional retail will do really well. And on the e-commerce, one major strength of the company, we've always been a very strong manufacturing company with a very good R&D. So if you see our products, especially in the electrical appliances products, we have a very strong integrated manufacturing unit. If you take, for example, a product like mixer grinder, the body, motors, the jars, everything is manufactured in-house. So we have a very strong control over costing in terms of manufacturing in-house. And that is one of the major reasons that we are able to compete our competitors in a very strong way without reducing quality or the functionality of the product. Even if you buy a product in e-commerce at the entry range, it will have the similar kind of qualities which we maintain even in a premium range product. In terms of aesthetics, in terms of functionality, in terms of even the warranty levels, ours will be one of the highest in this industry. That is only because of our strength in manufacturing, and that is why we are able to compete in a very strong way in new channels like e-commerce. The same thing can be replicated in modern trade also, because that will also be very similar in terms of pricing and strategy, but that is present in the retail level.
And in terms of where do we get a larger business? Is it Amazon, Flipkart, or there's a similar mix?
See, e-commerce is dominated only by two players, Amazon and Flipkart. We deal with both the companies in a very strong way.
And sir, can you share your revenue mix for FY21 in terms of mixer grinder, pressure cooker, gas stove, tabletop?
Devansh, unfortunately, we are not sharing a product-wise revenue mix. But what I can say is, if you see, all the products have grown significantly well. If you see last year, both appliances and cookware have grown at 30% and above. So that is a very fortunate thing for us. But currently, we are not sharing product-wise data.
Okay. And if even a direction would do, like, which is the two most dominant product out of them?
One major product where we are growing very well is the mixer grinders. Mixer grinders have been doing really well for us. And the same scope is there for pressure cookers, because our base is small. We have a lot of volumes to catch up to our competitors. So we feel that these two products will do very good for us in the near future. And the same goes with our products like gas stoves. Gas stoves, we do it in two channels. One is the retail channel, other is the gas dealer channel. Gas dealer channel, we've degrown by about 22%, and that is an intentional call which is taken by the company. And from now onwards, we want to maintain at the similar level. We don't want to degrow further from this. But on the traditional retail, in spite of degrown in gas dealer channel, we've grown much higher than that for gas stoves. Overall, even gas stoves have grown pretty good for our company. And tabletop wet grinder is a niche product which is only sold majorly in the southern 5 states, and we've done some good revenue growth there. But growth on tabletop wet grinder will not be as big as the other products which are sold in pan-India presence. And if you see other products, the product categories like electric chimneys, induction stoves, electric rice cookers, and non-stick cookware, we are still small. In these 4 product categories, we feel that in next 2 to 3 years, each and every product category can become 100 crores or more in revenue.
And in case of product launches and innovation, which is the target segment? I mean, top 3-4 that we are really focusing on.
If all the manufactured products like gas stoves, mixer grinders, tabletop wet grinder, pressure cookers, vacuum flasks, we will always launch products in value-based, mid-range and premium range. We will have at least one product in each ranges. And in the last few years, there's been a huge increase in the outsourced products as well. Because we feel that, as I said, the 4 new outsourced product ranges, we feel that can each contribute 100 crores of revenue.
Okay. Thanks a lot, sir. That was really lovely.
Thank you. Thank you.
The next question is from line of Akshat Haria from Multi-Act. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Hi, Maruel-san. Actually, I had 2 questions. First of all, we've seen significant improvement in our debtor days, and that's also, led to a significant improvement in our debt profile. And company is now a cash, net cash company as compared to a net debt company a year back. So, and we know that this change in the debtor days, it has to do something with the bill discounting. So I just wanted to know this decrease in debtor days, which now stand at 30 days. What would be, how much would be the contribution from bill discounting that we are doing, and how much would be, the reduction in credit which we've been actually providing to our customers. So is this a mix of both, or it's mainly, primarily due to bill discounting? And also, if you could just try to help us explain the contours of this bill discounting that we've been doing over last 1 year, because that's had a significant impact on our overall balance sheet structure.
Okay. See, if you see the significant improvement in debtors is primarily because of 3 reasons. One is we've started doing the secondary sales monitoring, in which we will be able to track inventory at the retailer level as well as at the distributor level. We make sure that our inventory will not be piled up at the retail level and it tremendously increases the pressure on our working capital pressure on our distributor as well as the retailer. That is one of the major reason which had improved, which we've seen where we've seen significant improvement in inventory as well as debtor days at the retail level. On the other side, there is also a channel mix. Gas dealer channel used to be one of the high working capital requirement for the company, where debtors used to be about 90-95 days. That ratio has come down to more retail channels, so that has also benefited. And also we've gone into bill discounting in the last 2-3 years, which have also impacted in some way to reduce the debtors. But if you see bill discounting, we've only utilized close to 28.5 crores by March end. Our medium term goal is to utilize up to 50-60 crores, but currently our utilization is only 28 crores. Even last year it was around 20-25 crores. It was around similar levels. So it had not, it wasn't a primary reason for reduction in debtors.
Perfect. And could you share your mix from e-commerce sales for Q4 and for full year, if that would be possible?
It is e-commerce throughout quarters from Q2 to Q4. It's very similar. Currently, we are not sharing e-commerce sales because it's become a significant number for us, number one. And number two, it's a very, very competitive information. But e-commerce has grown very good, and it has been the same for all the 3 quarters from Q2 to Q4. In fact, Q4 we've seen little bit of growth, higher growth in traditional retail than e-commerce.
Okay, yeah. So I just wanted to connect this question with our change in mix of South versus non-South states, because our non-South states have been growing. So is it the case that in e-commerce we've got higher non-South business as compared to a traditional channel, and hence higher growth in e-commerce is leading to a higher share of non-South states in the overall sales mix? That would be correct understanding, or it needs to be changed?
No, actually e-commerce ratio is very similar to our traditional retail ratio. the non-South have grown not primarily because of e-commerce. Even the traditional retail have grown at similar pace in non-South markets.
Also, Akshat, the growth in South market and non-South market is similar. South has grown by 35%, non-South has grown by 36%. And overall, okay, so it's similar only.
Understood, sir.
But within online, the South would have gone lower as compared to North. So, but overall percentage-wise, both the segment has grown at a similar.
Understood, sir. And one last question: the current capacity that we have, that we could be using, like without additional capex, we could do a sales of roughly around 1,200 to 1,500 crores. From 12 to 1,500 to increase that by 300 crores. As per the last understanding, we have to do a small capex of 8 to 10 crores. So that understanding still stays.
See, current capacity is for 1,100 crore, and with an investment of 15 to 20 crore, we can take it to 1,400 crore of revenue.
Okay, understood. Yeah, that were my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Pawan from Ratnatraya Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mayur. My question is regarding the price hikes that you talked about. What is how much price hikes have we taken, and when did we take it, and what is the likely? Are there any also hikes that are expected to be taken forward also?
In Q4, we had a hike of about 10% in most of our product categories. Mm-hmm. And in Q1, we are also thinking of, we are seeing the current situation. Currently, we have got lockdowns. There has been a little problem in terms of procuring the raw materials. Also, the availability of raw materials is also a challenge currently. Right. So automatically the prices are going up because of that. And in Q1 we are actually looking at it. Currently we are thinking that if we'll have to increase it by another 5% more, that is what we are looking at.
Okay, and the price hike, 2 price hikes are included in this 10%?
No, already Q4 we've done 10% hikes.
Okay. And are the current gross margins fully reflective of the 10% hike taken, or?
Yes.
Okay. And secondly, can you just give us a sense of, apart from the bill discounting of 28 crores, why are the trade payables up by so much? What is the explanation for that?
On trade payables also, what we've done is we've gone into channel financing. Mm-hmm. Because we want to make sure that we'll have to be debt free, and we want to target that and remain in that way. So we wanted to increase the creditors as well. We've not increased directly with them, but we've started using channel vendor bill discounting.
Okay. And how much would that amount be? And would you be paying the interest on that, or the retailers?
Yes, it will be around 50 crores as of March end. Interest is part by our vendors and part by the company. When we have a credit of about 45 days, if we take it to 90 days, 45 days is borne by the vendor, 45 days is borne by the company. But depending on vendors, it changes.
Okay, and this 50 crores is separate from the bill discounting that you have talked about, right?
Yes, this is vendor bill discounting, that is channel financing. 28 crores of channel financing for debtors.
Okay, that is fine. And on the gross margin front, is it still the right understanding if we can get to 1,000 crores, will be at 10%? Given the current inflationary scenario?
See, definitely. At EBITDA level, we want to cross 10% at 1,000 crore. That is the target. But today, this Q1, it's little uncertain because of various reasons. Because we don't know how the lockdown will be, and even this year's growth, it will not be like last year. Right. Even we have given a guidance of about 10 to 15%, considering the lockdown gets over by Q1. If it continues to Q2, that will also change. And if the lockdown extended, there'll be a small hit in margins for in a temporary way. So it is a little early to tell at this point.
Okay. And one last question. What do you think would be the normalized levels of retail, the e-commerce channel as a part of our business? I'm not talking about this year, but where do you think it will settle at? Around?
I think it will settle. Again, e-commerce have grown significantly well in the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen the scenario for the first time here. It's very, very hard to say because the likes of other big companies are also getting into e-commerce. So there might be some changes. But what we feel that is e-commerce on a steady state basis will be about 30 to 40% of kitchen appliances industry.
Okay. And fine, Mayur. I'll join back in the queue. Thank you.
Thank you, Pawan.
The next question is from Ayush Agrawal from MAPL Value Investing. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir, and thank you for the opportunity. So my first question is that our non-South geography has done really well over the years. First, I would like to understand that what has been our strategy and what it would be going ahead.
In non-South, when we started about 5-6 years back, we wanted to grow region to region, strengthen our presence, strengthen the supply chain network from one region, and then go to the other regions. We didn't want to go across pan-India presence at one go and establish the markets there. So we went only into the west markets, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Madhya Pradesh. Then we went into Delhi, NCR, Punjab, and then we went into markets in the east like Kolkata and Orissa. So we have not gone anywhere else. We are strengthening our presence there. And once we strengthen our presence there, we want to go to the neighboring states.
Nice. That's good to hear. So my other question is that how are we going about hiring senior level executives for these area penetrations or region penetration that we are doing?
Yes, human resources is a very, very key role because what we've done in the last few years, we've hired a lot of people in our sales and marketing. Now, currently, we have a senior vice president who heads the sales. Along with that, we have general managers who heads the state level. And apart from that, in the last 1 to 2 years, we have added category level managers who are only responsible for their category to increase counter share in the markets. So there's been a lot of hiring in the sales and marketing area. Apart from that, we have a very strong manufacturing team, which we feel will be good enough for at least for next few years. We don't need a hiring in that areas, but we've been hiring a lot in sales and marketing.
Right, and that should be our focus going ahead since geography penetration is the next step for our company. And my last question is, right now our marketing spend is somewhere around 10.5% of our revenues. What would be that number going ahead? And do you plan to bring a pan-India, now that we are a pan-India level company, do you plan to bring in a pan-India level face where other companies have also what are our strategies for marketing going ahead?
Currently, marketing spend is right at around 10.5%. We always have kept it at a variable level, depending on channel. But at one scale, we want to keep it as fixed. When we cross probably 1,000 crore of revenue, we want to keep it as fixed, and it will only have an inflationary increase in cost rather than the variable of the sales of the company. And yes, we are looking at we are also looking at some options, but pan-India role brand ambassador is a little early for us because currently only 20 to 24% of our sales is from non-South markets. When it touches about 30-35%, we will be looking at those options.
All right. Thank you so much for your answers.
Thank you. The next question is from Priyam Kimawat from Infinity Alternatives.
Yeah, hi Mayuresan and team. Congratulations on a great year in terms of both revenue growth and balance sheet improvement. My question comes to you from a little longer term perspective. While in the short term, we've guided for 1,000 crore revenue, maybe this year or maybe later, depending on the COVID situation. in the 3-4 year time period, where do we see our company in terms of both revenue as well as margins? Just wanted to understand that from your side.
Medium term, we are very, very optimistic. For sure, we want to grow 10-15% year on year. When the market situation gets better, we will be growing faster than that. And definitely margins will grow faster than the revenue because of operational leverage. And we feel that at 1,200-1,300 crore, we will be crossing more than 12% EBITDA.
Okay, at 1,200, you're guiding for 12% EBITDA. And in this year, F22, if we achieve 1,000 crore revenue, what is our margin guidance? Because it seems to be a little too conservative, considering that we've done major part of advertising, 95 crore on around 860-870 crore turnover. So that assuming to be flat this year, our margin should be upwards of 10%. So that appears to be a little bit conservative. So what is your guidance in terms of that?
Yes, Priyam, we have given a little conservative outlook. The reason is it's a little unpredictable today as we speak because currently we are in lockdowns. When it gets better, definitely at the end of Q1 results, we will be rechanging our medium-term outlook.
Okay, and in terms of just your dividend policy, considering now that you're debt-free and you will be generating strong free cash because your depreciation will be equal to capex, so around 70-80 crore PBT in 2 consecutive years will lead to 50-100 crore free cash. So what is your dividend policy over the next 2 years?
We've started giving dividend from last year, and we want to consistently increase the dividend over the years. So currently we've thought that we'll have to at least give 10% of profits as minimum 10% of profits as dividend. Over time, it will definitely increase.
Okay, and how confident are you on your working capital being around that 35 to 40 days? Will it be around this level for even at 1,200-1,300 crore turnover in say 2 years?
Definitely yes. We want to maintain at similar levels. We're very, very confident about that. We've been getting into channel financing, which we've just started now. We've only utilized very less limits. In fact, we feel that there are scope to improve further, which we are looking at. We are very, very confident we will be maintaining at similar levels.
Okay, thank you. That's all from me.
Thank you, Priyan.
Thank you. The next question is from Aditya Mehta from JDM Investment. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. So, sir, my question is regarding, just wanted an understanding on the designing part of the products. If you see some of our established products like Rapid Mixer Grinder, Spectra, the design elements are very sophisticated. But whereas in some of our new products like Wave or Handy Mixer Grinder, the design appeal is a little bit missing. So what are our strengths in the designing department, and can we repeat the same success as we have done in Rapid or Spectra Mixer Grinders?
Definitely, Aditya. Designing plays a key role in terms of aesthetics of the product because once you see a product, it should be attractive enough for you to try and buy the product. We have our in-house design team where we make sure that design is kept of a paramount importance. But unfortunately, for an entry-level product, you can't do a lot of design changes because the market demands a very basic product where it should be more functional. So if you say a product like Rapid, it's more entry-level. But if you take a product like Spectra, they're all mid and premium range product.
Yeah, but sir, even in Rapid, the design, the element is very attractive. The design proposition is very attractive. But some of our new products like Wave Mixer Grinder, I see it's priced more than Rapid, but the design appeal is missing over there. So just wanted so that we could maintain the sales momentum because designing is playing a very important part in your sales, as far as I can observe.
Yes, and we are launching few more mixer grinders this year. You'll have to see. They'll be they'll have very, very good designs, and they will look very, very attractive. On certain products, there might be a little bit difference in design because of the sales input of our sales team. Because whatever the input we get from sales team, we try and utilize to give the best result for them. And this year, we are soon launching a food processor machine, which has a very, very good design and which has very, very good features. And it is getting launched this year in a very big way. and that will have a very good design as well as very good features.
Okay. And next question, do we have any limit of the amount of revenues we can generate in a quarter? Because last time in a con call, we have said that we can do maximum 300 crores per quarter. So is there any limit like that?
No, there's no limit on revenue per quarter. We had a capacity constraint. That is the reason there were a limit of 300 crores. Now we've started investing to build our capacity up to 1400 to 1500 crore of revenue. So whenever need be, we will be increasing our capacities and we'll be prepared for that. We'll never lose sales because of lack of capacities and lack of our limitation.
So that expansion in capacity, by when it will be commenced?
This year we will increase our capacity to for 1400 crore of revenue.
Okay, this year itself.
Yes.
Okay, and just last question. So where are we in the part of tying up with YouTube influencer? Because if you see, I have been repeating this question again and again, because it might not be as costly marketing strategy for us, and it might also help in expanding the brand name of the company. So are we focusing on that?
Yes, we are currently talking with few bigger regional chefs. We are trying to see how we can help them and also make sure that our product is reached in a bigger way. We are as we speak, we are discussing on that.
Okay, thank you for that's from my side.
Thank you. The next question is from Sandeep Tyagi from Surya Intelligence. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Sandeep. Yeah.
So can you hear me?
Yes.
So very first of all, very congratulations for the great year for Butterfly. And my first question is that do we have any plan to increase our like product portfolio in our electronic segment?
We are not currently there in electronic segments. We are there only in kitchen appliances, especially in we have both electrical as well as non-electrical appliances. We don't have any electronic products as we speak. The focus will be more on kitchen related in the near future. And then we'll have to see.
Okay, actually I'm asking for the home appliances, right? We have a washing machine, washer, and coolers and all. So
yes.
We do we have any plan to expand our like segment?
Yes, we are currently there in electrical appliances like washers. We are also there in products like tower fans, which is a very which sells in a similar market to what our product sells. So we are getting into some product segments which based on the sales network, because our retail points should touch those product lines. We will not be getting into a completely different product line, which needs a complete different distribution network.
Okay, got it. And what was the growth in this like in this home appliance segment in last 3 or 5 years?
See, last 4 years we've been growing consistently at 21-22%. In retail market, we've been growing at 25-26%. Gas dealer channel, I've seen a degrowth of about 10%. But overall, the growth has been more than 20%.
Okay, and my last question is that, sir. What is the ideal portion we are expecting in futures in like retail and e-commerce? What would be the ideal portion in that?
Okay, on a steady state basis, we feel that e-commerce will be between 30 to 40% of the branded revenue.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. All the best for future.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Neelam Punjabi from Perpetuity Ventures. Please go ahead, ma'am.
My questions have been answered. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Shrey, who is an individual investor. So the question is, what is the company's geographical sales breakdown in South India and other parts of India, with North and West India? And what are the company's plan to expand, if aggressively, in other geographies to de-risk it from South India? Also, what are companies' plan to expand its product portfolio to other consumer durables such as kitchenware and household appliance products, either through greenfield or brownfield projects or acquisition?
Okay, if you see region-wise breakup, we've already given that in our presentation. Currently, South is about 76% and non-South is about 24%. 3 years back, it was 85-15 and now it's 76-24. And we feel that in another 2 to 3 years' time, it will become 65 and 35, with South 65% and non-South 35%. Yes, on the other side, we've seen a significant growth in the last few years. We will be continuing to grow with our current brand, and we feel that we have an good opportunity to grow with the current brand. We are not currently looking for any strategic acquisition or anything as we speak. And we are pretty sure that we are confident enough to grow with our existing brand.
Thank you. Next question is from Mr. Jignesh. If you could unmute and ask a question.
Hi, Mayuresh, and congratulations for good set of number. On the bill discounting part, it was around 28 crore versus 25 crore YOY. So any teething issue on bill discounting or any, you can say, feedback from the, our dealer distributor, why they are not able to take it more?
No, one thing what we saw is, the major reason is it is based on Q4 numbers. And more importantly, the idea was to reduce the data days, not by bringing in bill discounting, majorly by direct receivables. And if you see, there has been a significant improvement in direct data. So, if you see, rise in sales of online channel have also contributed for reduction of data. So we feel that we are not too aggressive in bill discounting, but there is a scope for us to bring the data slower using bill discounting.
Have you faced any teething issue, or and particularly with now our balance sheet become much more stronger, are we seeing that there is a scope for interest rate reduction in the bill discounting?
Definitely yes, because about 2 months back we have been re-rated from BBB to A grade, and we are negotiating with banks into reducing our interest costs.
Understood. And right now we are close to around 50 crore kind of vendor bill discounting. With strong balance sheet, we want to continue that practice, or there won't be need for the future, and probably we might, you can say, offer early payment to creator to get better rate on the, you can say, all the raw materials also.
Yes. Currently, we will be continuing to use vendor bill discounting. The only thing is the interest will be borne by the company by getting very good pricing also, because currently we can command a very good interest rates.
Understood. And how is the growth in the online sale YOY? I know you do not want to say the percentage revenue from that, but just to understand the growth rate.
Growth rate, you're talking about in the future?
No, current online growth rate in fourth quarter and the full year.
Online growth. Okay, online have grown significantly good. It is currently between 30 to 40% of our revenue.
Understood. And any color, have we gained market share or lost market share in the online, because now many new players also enter, and the existing large player who are not keen on online has also increased their SKU and offering?
Definitely we have gained market share because we've grown faster than our competitors. Even if you see our competitors' growth, we would have grown faster than most of the competitors. And also the unorganized market is also falling down year on year as we speak. It's hard to say from whom, or what product, for what geography we would have gained market share. It's hard to say that. But definitely, since we are growing faster than our competitors, we have gained market share.
And my last question on the supply chain, you also mentioned that there is some issue on the raw material supply with lockdown being there. Do you think the small player or unorganized player will have a larger issue on the supply chain, and they might lose out on the supply availability once the lockdown is open, as we have seen in the first wave?
Definitely, a lot of unorganized players are finding it hard to get raw materials and components. They are facing that problem in addition to the problem which they see in the market. That is one of the reasons the organized players are well positioned to grow faster than unorganized. On the other side, we have got a we've done a lot of planning to make sure that we are not affected once the lockdown is open. When we start our plant, we are ready to start manufacturing in the full swing.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from Kunal. You could unmute your line and go ahead in case your question is still pending.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Sir, when I was looking at your numbers, you have almost doubled your sales in the last 5 years, whereas your underlying category inherently don't grow at this rate. So you just mentioned in the last answer as well that you have gained market share. So what would you attribute this fast growth in the last 5 years to? And secondly, you have gained market share largely from whom? What is your assessment? Is it largely from the unorganized players, or some of the larger players have also lost market share to you?
See, it will be primarily because of unorganized brands, because of last year, because of pandemic situation, many unorganized brands have faced the heat, and many of them are not in the market. Organized brands, all of them have grown. If you see organized brands last 5 years, I think we would be one of the fastest growing brand. But our base is small. We want to grow further. We feel that there's an opportunity for us to grow faster than others for at least next 3-4 years.
And sir, what would you attribute this fast growth to? I understand that the base is small. Obviously, 500 crores, 400 crores doubling to 800 crores, the base is small. But would you attribute this to your strategy of online, or what are the other things you would attribute this high growth to in the last 5 years, not specifically last 1 year?
See, one thing what we did until FY17, we had the government orders. So once we finished those government orders, from FY12 to FY16, we had government orders. After government orders, we had decided that we will be focusing only on branded sales. We will not be getting into any more of those kind of orders. Then we had decided we can't only be a traditional retail brand based out of South, majorly focusing in Tamil Nadu. We'll have to be present across all these states in South, and we'll have to slowly get into the pan-India market. And that's what we've done in the last few years, which have significantly improved our sales. And also on the product category size, we were primarily only focusing on 2-3 product categories. Now we've got into 20 product categories, and the major four product categories is around 80% of sales today. But we feel that the other 4 product categories like induction stove, electric rice cooker, non-stick cookware, and electric chimney have a huge potential for us, and each product category will become a 100 crore plus product category for Butterfly in the next 2-3 years. So there is a huge scope for us for growth, and there is also a significant improvement which had happened in the channel expansion, which attributed to our sales.
Okay, great. Sir, and my second question is pertaining to your margins, sir. Your margins are lower than some of your competitors. So would you attribute this to, lower scale, or is it, the fact that your contribution to e-commerce is higher, in your sales, and would you attribute lower margins to e-commerce or subscale versus competitors?
No, all our channels are profitable. It is only because of scale. You would have seen at 300 crore level in a quarter, we can definitely do an EBITDA of 12% and above, and it's only because of scale. And definitely we can compete with them in terms of margins as well in the medium term, in the near future.
Sure. Thank you so much, sir. Best of luck.
Thank you, Kunal. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Nikhil Doshi, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi. Thank you for the opportunity. My question, Mayuresan, is more from an international market perspective. Butterfly currently, what would be our export number from our overall revenue perspective? That is one. Second question is, are we looking to target the export market going forward? As many of our competitors are, as we see, are doing a reasonably good number from their respective export businesses. So that is the second question on the export side, Mayureshan.
So if you see exports, currently we are doing about 1.5% of our revenues from exports. Exports have been pretty low for us. In the last few years, there's been an increased focus in the domestic market where we feel that we were very small and we wanted to gain the market share as soon as possible. So the highest focus were on the domestic market. But now we've been getting lots of distributors for even export markets, and soon we'll be focusing in export. This marginal revenue is not a target for now. We feel that export can easily generate 70 to 80 crore of revenue in 3-4 years' time.
Okay, great. Thanks for that, Mayureshan. Second question is more from a manufacturing perspective. I believe you mentioned a few times that our manufacturing capabilities are excellent and it shows as well. Are we exploring or are we getting inquiries from a third party manufacturing contract, maybe an outsourced manufacturer for an international entity? Any such discussions in the past?
Okay, you're talking about OEM or contract manufacturing where we can support any foreign brands.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Currently, we manufacture 5 product lines: gas stoves, mixer grinders, pressure cookers, tabletop wet grinders, and vacuum flasks. Yes, we have a huge opportunity for a product like vacuum flasks where we can do a lot of exports. There are opportunities there. We are also looking at those opportunities. But currently, the highest focus is on domestic market with our branded sales. And soon we will be looking at exports because that is a huge area for growth for us.
Okay, so basically contract manufacturing as an immediate focus area is not there for the next couple of years. Exports, yes, but not contract manufacturing, right?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Mayureshan.
Thank you.
The next question is from Aditya Mehta. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks again, sir. So could you please data point on how many retail touch points we might be touching in non-South markets and what was the growth in the numbers?
If you see retail touch points, about 3 to 4 years back, we were touching about 16 to 17,000 retail touch points. Today, we are touching about 26, 27,000 retail touch points. And today, we are touching at least about 7 to 8,000 retail points in non-South market, and which used to be about 1,000, 1,500 4-5 years back.
So what could be the growth by next year, or what this number could be?
The idea is not to increase rapidly. The idea is to strengthening our counter sales in those retail points and take it further.
Okay, first taking these retail points at the maturity level, then proceeding further.
We will be increasing touch points in the regions where we are present. We will not be getting into newer regions. Once we strengthen our presence in those regions, we'll be getting into newer regions.
Okay, got it. And so just a confirmation on my last question that you said that we will be increasing capacity by this year. So will this capacity be contributing during the festival season this year? Will this be available by then?
Yes, some of the products, because for some products we have importance to do it sooner. So for those products, we will start. We'll start with those products first.
So in Q2 and Q3, we might see some increased capacities of those products. Hello.
Yes, Aditya. Yes.
So in Q2 and Q3, we might see increased product capacities for those specific products only.
Yes.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank
you. The next question is from the line of Mukul Jain from Carnelian Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Just wanted to know on the e-commerce front, what are the margins we make in the e-commerce? Because since we have to shell out commission to the Amazon and the Flipkart as well. So just something color on that part. Thank you.
At gross margins, they are slightly lower to traditional retail. On the EBITDA level, it's same because there is not much fixed expenditure for e-commerce.
All right, sir. So one more thing, in how many days do we receive payment from the Amazon and Flipkart? So is it like Amazon receives first, or we directly get into our account?
No, both of them we receive between 7 to 40 days.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from Akash Jain from Money Curves. Please go ahead.
Yeah, just one follow-up question, Mayur-san. See, last time after the lockdown, there was a challenge both on, I think a larger challenge on supply side as well, right? Because manufacturing was not there, and even there was very low inventory at a dealer and distributor level. And so that is why even after the lockdown opened, it took a few weeks and months for pickup of for sales, right? Is this different this time? Because what I understand, at least from talking to other companies and even newspaper articles, etc., is that this is a demand problem and supply side has been to a large extent less impacted. So are our dealers and distributors well stocked so that when things open, we do not really have a lag between demand and supply? Can you just give a little bit of sense in terms of, is there going to be a lag again like last time, or it will not be there?
No, there won't be much lag because currently we don't have that problem. We have adequate inventory in the supply chain level because we've done a very good revenue in Q4, and we had a target of very good target in Q1. Unfortunately, that target will be hard considering the situation. But on the inventory side, we are well stocked on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We have the last question from Mr. Nirav Mehta, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi Mayuresan. Just quick question, similar to the question that I would have asked you the last few times. When I look at our online presence and our social media presence, it seems like there is a big scope of improvement compared to some of our competitors. So even when you go into Amazon and you browse, or you look at social media and the way a lot of these product promotions are happening for our competitors, whether it's Pigeon or Prestige, in the middle of Instagram stories or YouTube videos, etc. Are we doing anything? Is there a project that we have in mind to enhance that? And what are we doing on that front?
Yes, on the especially on the social media, we are focusing a lot. We've had few hires because that is one of the best way to attract new population for to buy our products. Youngsters are more present in Instagram or Facebook, so we are strengthening our presence there. We've had few hiring to take care of those. Definitely, we are improving. And apart from that, we are also getting into YouTube influencers, getting good chefs, and promoting our products even in that side also.
Sure, thanks. All the best, Mayuresan. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll just take one last question from Piyush Khandelwal from BOI XM Mutual Fund. Please go ahead, sir.
Thanks for the opportunity. So just wanted to understand, what's the current mix between manufacturing in-house versus outsourced?
Around 80% is in-house, 20% is outsourced.
20% is outsourced. And what's the capex plans over next 2 to 3 years?
Every year we invest about 12-13 crore of nominal capex. That is on a yearly basis. In addition to that, we will be investing about 15 crores for taking our capacity from 1100 to 1400 crores of revenue.
Okay. And so what's your guidance over ROEs, because we are at a marginally low kind of ROE here. I understand our margins are also low. Now going forward, you're guiding for a better kind of ROE. So what kind of sustainable ROE numbers that you think we can do going forward?
Okay, on the any return ratio, it's all dependent on profitability. So our idea is to definitely improve profitability. At 1200 crore of revenue, we will cross 12% of EBITDA, and even our PAT will be more than 5-6%. So when your profits improve, all your ROE, because our investment, there is not much investments for the next few years. we feel all our return ratios will be much, much better.
And so our current online channel mix stands at 30%, right? You said that.
Mm-hmm.
And what's our plan over there? I mean, any guidance of increasing the online mix, or it will stay at same level?
Online, we feel that it will be between 30 to 40% for us.
Okay. And so any kind of strategy over penetrating the non-South markets? I mean, what's our USP? Are we low price point? What's our USP over penetrating the North-South markets?
Non-South, we are using a similar strategy like what we've been doing in South. We want to give a very good product at very good pricing and make sure that once a customer buys our product, he continues to use our product because of its quality as well as product excellence. Because we feel that we have a significant hedge compared to our competitors in that. And also, we are the only brand to manufacture 5 product categories in-house. That is our key strength. We feel that our products are much, much better than our competitors in those 5 products at least.
So what would be the price difference versus peers?
Almost same. We are not a low-priced product brand. We are a mid and mid-premium brand in mass market.
Thanks. So just last question. What's our target ad spend as a percentage of sales going forward?
It is currently at between 10 to 11%. In about a year or so, we want to maintain it at a fixed level. Currently, it's at variable level.
Understood. Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks. All the best for the future.
Thank you. We'll now hand over the call to the management for the closing comments. Over to you, Mayuresan.
Thank you all for attending our Q4 and FY21 results call. We are very, very optimistic with the trends we are seeing in the market, and we are very positive for the medium-term future. Thank you again, and we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.